Wake up, wake up, wake up. The sun ignite my soul. I am charged. The day is a feast and I'm ready to eat. But why am I not tired? Artists work 24/7. I use sleep as an opportunity to astral body travel through Stargate portals, waking up in the middle of the night to write the scenes I've seen in my dreams. I go deep like a submarine. My purpose is to dive below the surface, to be specific. The great depths of the Atlantic is where I spend my dream time studying the remnants of Atlantis. But before I go further, let me explain why I don't have materialistic visions of popping Dom Perignon and using women's asses as champagne glasses. I've been past this since the feeling of fasting grasped me, left me empty. The opening of a black hole within my insides when I tried to do a 9 to 5, get drunk on a Friday night and live a generic life. Listen, we are all born with a greater purpose. So I was faced with standing at the place of no return at the edge of the cliff. I looked down from the frightening heights of Mount Everest, took a deep breath in preparation before hurtling into the infinity of the rabbit hole. For this eternal journey to master the inner and outer worlds has no destination, but a free spirit yearns for more. So I must explore, so I meditate. Sat in a Buddha pose, I rose, blooming into a higher state of being. The ancient gods recognized me as one of them, so before me, they opened up multi-dimensional gateways. A brain, operating at 10% of its capacity, cannot get to grips with concepts beyond this physical paradigm. How I appear in more than one place at the same time. My mind began to expand as the unknown strands of my DNA unraveled mysteries from my ancestry, rooting throughout history to the first divine beings that walked this planet. I can now fathom the power I feel every time I write. A solar ball of flames rotates in my palms and I'm able to create. Listen, we are all too great to ever self-deprecate. What fear is there when you see yourself macro-sized in the skies? We are stars on earth in human form, and my poetry is a mirror to show you just how much you shine.
Greetings and welcome to the Out of Noise podcast. Your host Stella B and
Nat Nye.
This is the podcast where we bring our peace
To the mic.
and we welcome you back frequently to tune into our frequency. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, and it's not been hot outside, but we've come back to bring the heat to the mic.
No, it's been absolutely abysmal, and us poor folk who need vitamin D and the sun, just sending you out some love and light. Please know that that darkness that you're feeling is because we are missing some of that beautiful, those sun rays. We're missing that. So just be aware of that. Don't let any of the darkness consume you. Okay, you are special people. We are all people of extraterrestrial substance, especially if you are tuned into our podcast, because that's who we are, the poets. So thank you for tuning in to this episode. Episode 30 is a special one. We took a very important and enlightening trip. We were invited to go to a plaque unveiling for the late and great Sonny Roberts, who passed in 2021, and we're going to talk a little bit about that whole experience. But first of all, let's start off by saying, who is Sonny Roberts?
So we learned about Sonny Roberts actually on the unveiling of his plaque, and yeah, big up to Nubian Jack, because Nubian Jack has been going around for a good few years now, honouring the greats of Black Britain, those who have contributed wonderfully to the British society as a whole, and largely ignored by the mainstream, unfortunately. So him and the team have taken it upon themselves to actually honour and put some respect on the names of the likes of Sonny Roberts. So before that point, we didn't actually know who Sonny Roberts was. So it's educating, and we're just sharing a little bit that we do know, like, because there is so much to reveal. So basically, he was the first black owner, the creator of the first black owned recording studio, and also the owner, the creator of the first black owned record label in the UK. And he was the catalyst for reggae and ska, and he had he was the owner of Orbitone as well later on, that basically championed lovers rock. So the music that he was the fire underneath that would become massive around the world is wait, I don't know what I'm saying. I've lost my train of thought. He was the fire behind music that became impactful around the world. Essentially, that is what he was. And with Planetone
Records.
With Planetone Records.
The first record label that he created was called Planetone in 1961 in Kilburn, which only lasted a couple of years. But then he created another one called Sway Records and Orbitone Records. So those were, and then he also had a record shop as well as having a studio. So there was a few things going on in and around the area in Kilburn, Willesden, Harlesden as well. So yeah, we're just learning. So please forgive us if we have any inaccuracies, but we try and be as accurate as possible. But in his championing of reggae, calypso, what is now known as Afro beats, but back then Afrobeat. So working to bring forward the Nkeges, the Nigerian band of that time, to the UK. So his passion for our music is what led him to be a pioneer in these areas, because most people, we even us, we only really know about island records as something that we associate with something to do with us, but it's not, that wasn't originated by us. That's not essentially black owned. And even arguably when people are like, okay, he's Jamaican, the founder of it, but yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Pioneer, music, black music pioneer, influencing the likes of Chris Blackwell, who is the founder of Island Records. Best, easiest way this can be done is quotes from Chris Blackwell, who was the founder of Island Records. He said, "Sonny quite simply started it all. I had the privilege of making acquaintance with Sonny in 1959 in London, which developed into a great friendship. His trailblazing work in music was down to the vision, and his passion for various types of music was outstanding. Sonny's work in the music industry is remarkable, and he should be heralded as one of the great pioneers. Sonny was there from the beginning, the evolution of black music in the UK." And also of Island Records, Bob Bell said, "Simply by being such a trailblazing pioneer in the evolution of West Indian music in the UK, the first black-owned recording studio, the first black-owned record labels, Planetone and Sway, the first black-owned record retailer, produced early examples of Afrobeat in 1971. Sonny Roberts put down an undeniable marker, and then by introducing Chris Blackwell to Lee Gopthall, Sonny became the catalyst for a relationship that ultimately led to the forming of Trojan Records, the label that introduced the world to reggae." So, as we were saying, his influence to reggae, ska, lovers rock, and Afrobeat in the UK was profound.
Excellent. There's also a quote in there from Cleone, which is his daughter. One of his, I believe he had a few daughters, because she basically, in the plaque unveiling, there was a lovely moment where Cleone brought forward the entire family, or whoever could make it, and it was massive. You know, we have these big families, and some had flown all the way from New York, you know, for this special occasion. His beautiful wife as well, she was there and spoke on his behalf as well, and it was really important to witness that, because I guess what I'm getting at is realizing that without that passion from Cleone, you know, recognizing what her father's contribution to the music industry in specifically in the UK has been, and wanting that presented in the form of a plaque, or in the form of, you know, something that historically can be remembered, has meant that this manifested how it did a couple of days ago when we were there. So it's just very important. So she said, you know, she said to her father, your trailblazing work in music has woven themselves into the very fabric of mine and most people's lives, inspiring generations to come, and carved a path for artists and musicians. I celebrate not just your achievements, but also the indomitable spirit that propels your family forward. Your symphony of dedication, passion, strength, and honesty continues to resonate, leaving an enduring legacy for all who listen. Congratulations, Dad, on crafting a symphony of greatness that will forever echo through time. She's a poet. Poet. That was really beautiful. So, what was your feelings on the day? Like, how did you feel when you walked away?
Yeah, the sense of importance, the mixed emotions, if I'm really honest. So basically, like I was saying, big up to Newbie and Jack, big up to Cleon Roberts as well, and everybody involved in making that happen. Sister Keshenua as well. We have to big up Sister Keshenua, because she actually was the one who directly reached out and invited us. And so yeah, being there, and the energy of the family and the community, the musical black music community as well, it was wonderful. It was a good experience to see that. Good to see him being honoured in such a way. Sonny Roberts being honoured in such a way. The mixed emotions aspect of it for me is that, why is Sonny Roberts' name not known on a mainstream level, despite such brilliant contributions, to be the first? And we have to be careful with the word first, I believe, in general, because when people put themselves as the first, you often look back into history and find out there was something before. Nevertheless, that's why the history has to be told on a mainstream level, for this information to be out there. So to be the first owner of a record label, or the first black-owned recording studio, these are important things to know. This is something that generations that come afterwards know that they are standing on top of. They're taking the race further, or that, you know, we're growing from a certain point. But when that history is unknown, then we're all thinking that we come from nothing, which is what is a lot said when in a lot of lyrics, like, we come from nothing, now we're here. Is that kind of thing? Well, no, you don't come from nothing. There's a lineage. It's just that the lineage is unknown, and then that affects us in multiple different ways. I also think in terms of timelines and the way, if pivotal moments do not happen, what happens as a result of that? So I don't understand you. Right on the top. I don't understand. What do you want? Carry on that. No, he can't come on the top. The sonar. What is the chances? Oh my god. Right, carry on. Yeah, different timelines. The different timelines created from different pivotal moments that could mean that different things happen. So essentially, if there is not only control of our narrative, but also ownership of our own culture and our cultural expression, our music and such, then we are able to change destinies, essentially. Yeah, we're able to change our destinies, essentially, and that means our community. As it stands right now, and how it has been, is that there are individual pointers of success, but there isn't the success that means that our community is transformed. Success is often seen as like getting out of the community. The community is a hood, right? So you want to get out. You get wealth, you get out. There's not a success that means that the community as a whole changes and transforms, other than these individuals that are, I guess, representation. Representation fills us with pride, but doesn't change much. And basically, the knowledge of certain things can do so, and the control and ownership of our own culture, our own music, also can change the destiny of our people as a whole, rather than like I'm saying, individuals.
Agreed. The key word there for me is institutions, like building institutions. So Planetone Records becoming something like Island Records would have been exactly what we're talking about. Why hasn't that happened is the question that we have to ask ourselves, so we can correct those kind of things. Enough of us pooling together is not happening, and as you said, the struggle on one's own to represent that and to be that is harder. Connecting the dots has to happen now. Now's the time for it, really. And that's really what role we feel we play when we're highlighting such history. We really want to just talk about how we can go forward in a new vein, in a better vein than what's happening. And this has been a very important key thing that has just come into our periphery, essentially, because we're very passionate about history ourselves. We bought this book a while ago and we checked it. We just wanted to double check, if Sonny Roberts is in here, and he's not. This is Black British History, Black Influences on British Culture, 1948 to 2016. I think that's, oh my gosh, yeah. So it just needs updating, because more and more information is coming out about these very key people who have provided such a huge impact and influence, that has been the catalyst for so many things that we enjoy today, and we are the custodians of that. We're the ones who are going to be telling our own narrative. I've got a quote here I wanted to use in that vein, just to highlight the importance of history. We know the famous quote from Marcus Mosiah Garvey. This is the month of coming up is the month of Mosiah Garvey. We're not quite there yet, but we're nearly there. So, okay, one that I wanted to say that from George Orwell was, the most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of their history. Okay, George Orwell, writer of the famous 1984 book, also Animal Farm, okay, which I think that's from. So we know that the consciousness, the ones who control specifically African history, is that they're very aware of the importance of knowing self. And in the ancient walls of Kemet is the very directive and poignant message, know thyself. And so it's very key that we address this very important subject in terms of understanding why it's important that we're learning this history about Sonny Roberts, and why others should also be spoken about, specifically in the narrative of Black British, this one here, because we're learning about history of African Americans. Yes, it's valuable and very important, but there are Africans all around the globe, and why it's important for us is because this is where we reside. This is where currently for us, because not forever, but currently this is where people are from here, and this is the black experience we are having here. And so therefore we have to connect the dots and know that we are very much valued. The young ones coming up have to know their importance and measure it against a past, and not that just popping into and springing into existence, headless. History is a set of lies agreed upon. Napoleon said that, and that is the mindset of the certain people who control the narrative. So a key thing we read, if you go on Google and you go on Wikipedia and you put in Sonny Roberts, you'll get one version of who he is. And it is a very holy version. It's empty. There's no detail. But if you see the quotes that we were giving you and you read through the press release that we were given for the day, you'll get a wholesome picture of Sonny Roberts and his invaluable contribution to music in the UK. Two different versions of the truth. And one is coming from the people, or representative of the people who speak in those tones. History is a set of lies agreed upon. Okay, we know who thinks that way. And the last quote I wanted to say was, history is not a burden on the memory, but an illumination of the soul. And that's from Lord Acton, not my lord, but he also has the quote of the very famous quote of power corrupts absolutely, which is not what we're dealing with here, but we're talking about the fact that history is so, so important. History and her story is very important. Her story, oh my gosh, where is that? Where is that? But yeah, it's just invaluable. And yeah, I'm very grateful we got that opportunity to, be amongst people that are of like mind, who were all celebrating in the same vein, that a very important part of history there. And the unveiling of the plaque was, very momentous. It's a tangible thing that is there, that when, we organise trips in the summer for the young ones or whatever, and we're going on tours around the UK and we're seeing who we are and rediscovering self and giving that sense of importance to our people, that's there now. That is a poignant part of history that's solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very important. And yeah, we can't say it enough. Like, big up to Nubian Jack, big up to Cleon Roberts and everybody else who was involved in making that happen. Like, what's needed is what's necessary for us to build upon. And then yeah, like, I guess the mission upon us now who are alive is like, what do we do? What do we learn from that? And how do we make a difference to our community? So the recognition is as it should be. And there are tangible differences done to our community, essentially.
Share. So we're going to end there. We have a special treat coming up. What we do want to say is, if you've enjoyed this episode, do click on the like button. It's very much appreciated. Also, share it with anyone who's interested, you might find is interested in learning about Sonny Roberts. If you want to learn more about the unveiling of the plaque, you can check out Jet Black Ink. They have put up a very lovely piece about the day. So do check that out on YouTube for yourself. And last but not least, do buy us a coffee if you like to see more of this content. It's very much valued. And we've got some merch. So the links are all in the description below. Click on there. Check out our Poets Top, people of extraterrestrial substance. And if you want to be one, you can buy one of those shirts. So we will see you next time on Out of Noise podcast.
Peace.
Oh my God, what is that you're wearing?
It's only the POETS, Poets, the People of Extraterrestrial Substance collection, Stella D Designs.
Oh, can I see it properly?
Out of Noise merch and dice.
Looks good. Dope.
Thanks.
Where'd you get it from?
On Shopify.
Ah, cool. Yo, I am so hyped about these brand new teas. They've arrived. Stella B's Tees, the official merchandise provider for the Out of Noise podcast. All available on Shopify now, today. These are the official Poets t-shirts. So you have a poet here, a person of extraterrestrial substance with his noise cancellation. Poets are people of extraterrestrial substance. So I thought of designing what would a poet actually look like if you were to manifest it into a visual. I'm creative, if you didn't know. And yeah, so I drew up these characters, and the concept is like we are cancelling out the noise with by bringing in like substance to our lives and thinking about who we are, like, and exploring ideas that actually enhance our consciousness. So yeah, do check it out on Shopify on the link and buy one. You can buy one today. If you are an ET, you better get your tea.